Hey there, everyone, and welcome back to the Disconnected. It has been a long time since I've done one of these. Well, it feels like forever at least, but I just got back from Monsterpalooza in Southern California, and this is going to be my first video on that entire trip. This is only going to cover the con. I just want to go over some of the things I saw, some of the things I experienced, and share with you guys exactly how much fun it was. I've had a lot of people asking questions, so let's dive right in. All right, so this is what it looked like when I first walked up. I got here about 75 minutes before the con opened on Saturday. I did not get to go on Friday, unfortunately. Time just got away from us. We were doing some other things that you'll find out about in another video. And when I came up, I knew I had to go to Will Call because I already had tickets purchased. And the line wrapped around the whole right side of this building and then the back side of this building and kept going all the way to the back. And this is what it looked like on the back by the time I got here. And this was 75 minutes early. So it was pretty packed already, and it got much worse. Funny enough, I stood in line here for a good, we'll say 40 minutes before things started to move. And while I was in line, for those of you that don't know, I live in Kansas City, Missouri. I used to live in Southern California, and somebody that I used to work with that I traveled to a convention in Texas with at one point, I happened to see him in line and texted him, and we got to meet up. It was just a random happenstance that he was there. We didn't plan to meet up or anything like that. I had no idea he was going to be there. It just so happened that I saw him because I'm a tall person and I can see a lot of people. So yeah, it was nice. I got to say hi to an old friend. Right when we got inside, the first people that we saw were the people from Scream that were there for the convention. And this is odd because usually the stars, like the biggest draws to the conventions, are always in the back of the place near an exit or something like that. But you'll see them all here. I didn't get a picture with any of them like this where you walk up and get a signature. I didn't do that with anybody. I actually had a pro photo op that we'll talk about at the end of this, but I walked by and just stole a picture of a whole bunch of the people that were there. So this is Nev Campbell, and this is Jamie Kennedy, and he looked pretty haggard, unfortunately. He looks a lot better in a later picture, but yeah, he looked rough, I will say. And then this is Matthew Lillard. Looks like he's staring me down, but he's actually just trying to find the camera here. And then that is Skeet Ulrich in the red there going to sign a poster. And then this is Robin Tunney. She was in The Craft and Prison Break and a whole bunch of other things. She was great. And then Tom Savini was there. I've met Tom a couple times. I've got him to sign one of my other releases, so I didn't feel like I needed to this time. Some of these pictures, again, kind of low quality because I was just trying to sneak a picture as fast as possible. Then we got David Naughton from An American Werewolf in London. He looks great for his age and all that. He's one of the nicest people to meet for sure. And then, of course, we got Doug Bradley from Hellraiser. He is at a lot of these conventions. I love this picture because you can see like the plague doctor through the window behind him. Just a perfectly timed picture. And then this is Mark Dacascos from a whole bunch of different things, and he was standing next to Billy Zane. I did not get a picture of Billy Zane, but Mark Dacascos is in, Brotherhood of the Wolf. He was in the Mortal Kombat Legacy, Hawaii Five-0, Iron Chef, America. Yeah, he's in all kinds of things. And then Bill Moseley, I've met him previously. I've got his signature on a couple things. He's a really great person. This is the picture I took that I alluded to earlier. This is with everybody that was in the Screamcast. That is Nev and Jamie and Skeet Ulrich and Matthew Lillard, of course. Jamie Kennedy got himself looking a little better for this picture and still doesn't look great, but better than he looked earlier. And then, of course, in between Skeet and Matthew, that is Jeremy Long, friend of mine, comedian from Southern California. Met up with him for the first time in person during this trip. He was great. And those are shirts that we both wore specifically for this picture. It was a really nice opportunity to be able to get a picture with all four of these people at once. Okay, so Monsterpalooza originally is essentially like a makeup and special effects convention. It wasn't really always meant as a horror convention, and you'll see some of the things that they got here. They've got these really nice masks. I believe this was the Trick or Treat Studios booth that had these. You don't really see Mars Attacks masks a lot, so that was cool to see. And then these were rather unique. I liked these. And then you can see this is from the bestlittlewhorehouse.com. All kinds of different options there. These ones were really neat too, really detailed. Love that Nosferatu one. And then some other things that they had set up. Did not expect this. This is really cool. And then, of course, there is all kinds of vendors here selling art, selling pieces that you might want in your home. And I just tried to take a picture of some of the better ones that I saw. Some of the things that if I, had more money, I probably would have bought a lot of these. These are really, really well done, really interesting. There's a lot of people with just great artistic skills just out here showing everything that they can do. And these are the perfect ways to support these groups. This is the Trick or Treat Studios booth. They had all kinds of stuff. This was right below the mask that I showed just a minute ago. At this con, they had so many t-shirts. It happened to be the only thing I bought. I only bought 2 shirts, but it is just so many options there. And I'm sadly a sucker for t-shirts. It's really difficult for me to turn down a good t-shirt. And there were so many options here. I wanted to buy a bunch of them. Thankfully, some of the ones I really wanted, like on this one, the Return of the Living Dead shirt I already had, the Prowler shirt I already had, but man, there are just so many options. And then, of course, there are all kinds of little decorations. There's just house goods everywhere, things that you could buy, really great statues, some pieces that are so incredibly well done and just artistically amazing that I just could not help but stare at for a long time. This was a piece of art. You can tell this is the art in the top left here that matches Jeremy's shirt from that pro photo op that we saw earlier. And it all glows under a black light. Really neat art. This lady just did great work. She was very nice to talk to as well. We also had some cosplaying dogs. I'll show you a video of that in just a moment. They looked great. Happened to meet up with Master Chaos from YouTube. He's been on the channel before. Really nice person. Yeah, glad I got to meet him and his family. It was cool. And then Jeremy had to take a picture with Audrey from Little Shop of Horrors. While walking around the convention, I happened to see a handful of people. This is Greg Nicotero. He is famous right now for working on The Walking Dead, doing a lot of the creature effects. I also met a lot of you that had viewed the channel, and this is just one example of a group that was just absolutely amazing to talk to. I appreciate seeing you guys in person, and I won't share names or anything like that, but you were just so kind. Thank you for saying hello. It was such a fun trip, and overall, I'm just incredibly happy that I was able to make the trip. It was a really great time for me to get away from everything. And yeah, I loved it. I really hope that I can go back to something like this again soon. So this is some of the effects that they were showing for the creatures. They were even doing some makeup on scene. So here's an example of that. And then these are the cosplaying dogs that I showed earlier. The best one is the Chucky one because it looks like he's got a little weapon when he turns around here. And that's it. Monsterpalooza 2022, I feel like was a big success for me. I got a lot out of it. I met a lot of people. I made some friendships. I really got to experience a lot of things. But some of my favorite experiences were done outside of Monsterpalooza. You're going to have to come back in a couple days so that I can share some of those items. If you want to see that next video that's coming out in just a few days, make sure you click subscribe because I can't wait to share all of those experiences with all of you. As I always say, from one collector to all of you, have a good night.